And then you'll find you don't necessarily need motivation when it comes to getting healthy and all of those things. It's just going to come because you're being your truest self. And our truest self means that we're taking care of ourselves, you know.
Hello and welcome to Fierce and Flawless, the Female Project. I am Dr. Antonella Kaler, and I am on a mission to find out exactly what it takes to build an indestructible foundation and achieve our best reality. I am thrilled to bring you stories of inspiring women who were fierce and relentless when pursuing their passions, who did not blame their struggles on so-called character flaws, and who took control to lead extraordinary lives. If you're a woman who is tired of feeling like your life is merely a product of cause and effect, and you are ready to be the woman that causes the effect, keep listening to learn the necessary insights to navigate life's toughest challenges, break through the most disheartening plateaus, and unleash your inner alpha woman. And don't forget, you have the exclusive opportunity to win our Alpha Empowerment Book Bundle. It's 3 life-changing books whose authors you heard speak on the show and a 12-week wellness program by me. So please visit www.thefemaleproject.net/podcast to find out exactly what you need to do to participate. So good luck and thank you for listening. Hello, Alphas, and welcome to another episode of Fierce and Flawless, the Female Project. Today, we have a lovely episode with Zoe Bray-Cotton, the creator of YogaBurn Fitness. Zoe spent over 15,000 hours teaching yoga all over the world. She has a massive social media following because she consistently posts messages of inspiration, self-love, and daily focus. Zoe and I talk about self-love. We talk about confidence, why yoga doesn't have to be boring, and how to get started with a simple 15-minute daily practice to energize your day if you're a particularly busy woman. Now, I personally benefited a lot from this discussion. To be transparent with you guys, I have probably started and quit yoga at least a dozen times in my life. It's so different from my method of training and the way I approach sports and fitness, I guess life in general. So if you're like me and you're more on the competitive side and you like to lift heavy and you want your sport to be high-paced, high-impact, go, 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 and you really don't want to slow down and do some stretching, you know what I'm talking about. You alphas that skip your stretching routine, you know who you are. And I used to be like that. I used to be like you too, because let's face it, we know that flexibility and core strength, increased range of motion is all very important. But because we don't see immediate benefit quite so much as with a lot of other training methods, and we're not getting that crazy sweat going, and it's more about injury prevention and long-term benefit, a lot of us don't truly commit to it. Now, I really liked Zoe's method because it does combine the best of both worlds. You are getting the benefits of yoga and you are going to get your sweat going, believe me. So it's really practical. It doesn't take up too much of your time. It's not overwhelming. You're definitely feeling like you're getting a great workout and you're going to see some of the more immediate benefits. So I will be trying out her advice for sure. And I think a lot of you will find it very useful as well. So if you ever even considered that a little bit of yoga might be just what you need, or if you are a little bit more of a seasoned yoga practitioner and you want to find out how you can kick it up a notch, keep listening to know exactly what you need to do to get started. So I bring you a kind, positive, and open-hearted alpha woman, Zoe Bray-Cotton. All right. Well, so if you could please start with letting our audience know about a little bit about yourself, how your life has led you to where you are. You've accomplished some truly unbelievable things, and just how you found your passion.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for the compliment. I really do appreciate it. And I was first kind of led to yoga and fitness by my mom as a teenager. She got me a membership with her, to a local gym, and she would wake me up before high school and we would go first thing in the morning together. My mom is a big inspiration of mine. So that's what kind of led me to yoga and fitness in the first place. And then I just got completely obsessed with fitness, as a lot of us do. And, being a teenage girl, I think I wasn't quite ready for how that was going to make me feel about my body, and the changes I had when I lost weight, and how that was going to just become a little bit of an addiction almost, So
absolutely.
Yeah, I had some, some tougher times as a teenager, kind of finding myself. And that's what really, in the end, brought me back to yoga when I was around 18 years old. And I took the plunge and did the yoga teacher training right out of high school. And I just fell madly in love with it and felt like, okay, I found my purpose, and this is what truly makes me feel good from the inside, and that radiates out, So I felt like I was just as healthy mentally as I was physically, and that's what became my passion, so that I could get that out there to everyone, and share with women especially that there isn't just one way to be in shape. You don't just have to lift weights. You don't just have to do cardio. You don't just have to do yoga. You can really find what truly resonates with you and lights you up. And there's so many different ways you can go about that,
Yeah, and that's such a common problem too. People think that there's kind of a preset formula to getting healthy, and then they try it. It doesn't resonate with them. They hate it, and then they give up because they figure, well, that's that, and I hate it, so I can't do this for the rest of my life. And they just kind of never look back and stop, right?
Yes. And I think it's a lot about finding, I feel like it's even just like in school, when you had a teacher that you really clicked with, you got high marks in that class.
Absolutely.
And it's like
suddenly it's your favorite subject.
But I mean, like last year in history, you were bombing, and all of a sudden this year you got 90s. Like really finding a person that you connect with, I think makes a big difference. It always has for me too. I've loved different styles of yoga because I've found different mentors that I really connect with. And I think that helps too. Just like you said, like if you find somebody that you connect with, it just really helps you to feel more positive and more inspired,
Absolutely. Now, in terms of different styles of yoga, could you discuss a little bit about the style that you picked and why?
Yes. So my first baby and my first program that I ever launched, which was, I think, about 3 years ago now, was a fusion style of yoga that really focuses on blending fitness and yoga. Because I think for a lot of us, we think yoga is just like chilling out and stretching and and sure, there's that style of yoga.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes
it is, which is more like the restorative yoga, yin yoga, Iyengar yoga. Those are the kinds that are more kind of therapeutic based and more very about your posture and your alignment. And the style of yoga that really lights me up is vinyasa and ashtanga. And those are very dynamic, vigorous styles of yoga that get your heart rate up, make you sweat, and are challenging. And for me, that was like a moving meditation. And I found when I was just holding a pose for a minute, my mind would wander off and I could much more easily get distracted. But when I'm in a very, almost like a yogic dance kind of, it's very fluid. It's like I'm just immersed in it. I don't have time to think about anything else except how I'm feeling in my breath and all of that. So the YogaBurn system for women is a combination of Ashtanga and Vinyasa yoga, and it's very fluid. And yeah, it's a total body workout that also gets you the benefits of yoga at the same time.
Amazing. Now, if you're a woman and maybe you're, like a lot of more kind of weightlifting type sports, for example, like me, and I'm the person who does not stretch and who has their coach constantly on their butt telling them, have you done your warm up? Like, yeah. And, I consider the wave your arms around like a helicopter enough of a stretch. So if you're someone like that, what's a good place to start? If you're having I really like what you mentioned about your style, that it keeps you engaged, because that's such a problem if you're used to, go, and you're just kind of sitting there kind of twiddling your thumbs. You start to lose focus, and it can be challenging. So if you're also concerned that maybe you're not as flexible as the average person, what's a good place to start?
Well, all of my programs are built on 15 minutes. So I design it in a way that you could almost do like a circuit with yoga. So there's 15-minute increments, and I always encourage everyone just start with 15 minutes and try and tack it on to something else, especially if you have quite a set program. If you are, like you, Antonella, and you have like, okay, this is what I'm doing today, I know my weights, well, then tack that 15 minutes onto your cardio day, or tack it onto something else and create your own little routine within that. That's just 15 minutes. And again, find something that you feel you get benefit out of. Because I think the problem with women and yoga sometimes is we are so darn busy that we're like, I don't have time. I don't have time. If I'm going to do something, it better make my butt look good or I'm not doing it. So, you know what I mean? It's kind of like...
It's so true, though. Absolutely.
Yeah. So for somebody who, lifting weights really lights them up and that's their priority, then I'm like, okay, just try 2 or 3 times a week. I can make a little 15-minute routine for you that's going to hit all the major muscle groups and get you feeling awesome in 15 minutes. And you can use, especially the more vigorous styles as a warm-up. Like your heart rate's going to be warm. Your lifts are going to be better because you're going to have more synovial fluid in your joints. You're going to be properly warmed up, So yeah, you can. Yeah, I would say the 15 minutes is the sweet spot, and find a style of yoga that actually makes you feel accomplished when you're done. That doesn't make you feel like, 30 seconds hamstrings, 30 seconds this. It's like a robot, like moving from one thing to the next. It's like find, the movements and the sequences that make you feel good. And I think it's incredibly sexy and feminine yoga too. I think it just feels good to move your body like that. It's very kind of sensual and it feels good. It just makes you feel good. So yeah, I would say finding the right fit would be...
I love the 15 minutes because I'm a mom to a toddler. So I can't do 60 minutes in a studio somewhere where I'm going to be sitting for 10 minutes and thinking I could be doing so many things right now that are on my to-do list.
Yes. And the thing also, like, getting really specific is all of my programs are just for women. So it's very tailored to the areas that we want to target, both for stretching, but also for toning up and all of that. So it is very specific and targeted. You're not going to be doing the same moves that I would give a 60-year-old man who could very well be in studio with you at that class. Like, so it's very targeted and specific. Yeah.
Now, do you see a common kind of mistake that women make when they sort of start out on their whole health journey? Do you see any like a resonating theme? Because a lot of people, the majority of people kind of get it wrong the first time around. Do you see a pattern?
I would say, well, it's hard to pick one, but I mean, comparison is the thief of joy, right? Like, I mean, that quote, I like find myself just like saying it all the time, typing it on Instagram to everyone when they're like, but my hip doesn't do that. Or, ooh, my leg doesn't go as high as yours. I'm like, who cares? Like, I'm sure there's something that you could do that I would look at and be like, oh, well, I can't, do a kettlebell swing with 80 pounds or whatever it is, right? Like, but when we compare ourselves, and I think with the social media epidemic that's out there and all the visual kind of stimuli we get, I think it can be really hard to just kind of be happy with where you're at. And one of the yogic practices is santosha, which means contentment. And I think that's something that I preach a lot, is like finding contentment in where you are doesn't mean that you can't strive to improve, but you're going to come at that improvement and that growth from a loving place rather than I hate where I'm at. And I feel like, it's like I want to exercise because I love myself and I love my body, not because I hate it. And I want to be able to I want to do the splits like she can, like, that's, I think,
always be content, but never satisfied.
Yeah, exactly. Like, exactly. Finding that, self-love coming from that place. And I think that was the big transition that I found with yoga, and something that I needed personally to really ground me in myself and who I am as a person. That's not just tied into what I look like or if I can do something that someone else can't,
Yeah, and things like Instagram make that so difficult because they are such visual platforms. So,
Yeah.
if you, and it knows, like the algorithm knows, if you start to kind of be more engaged with fitness things because you're getting more interested in fitness yourself, and suddenly you're bombarded with like tons of pictures of people who are extremely fit, who are cover models. And a lot of people can find that very discouraging instead of motivating.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, choosing, and that's again comes down to the choosing your mentors correctly, right? If seeing, and I did look at your Instagram as well, and I noticed you're very similar to me, that your posts are quite conservative. And I think that is hard to do this day and age in Instagram, because we know if you show more skin, I'm sorry, it gets more views, it gets more reach, it just does. But you have to stay authentic with your message. And that's something that I want to empower women. There's a reason I'm not wearing shorts and a tank, like shorts and a bra top in any of my videos. I'm wearing yoga leggings and a full-size tank top. Like, I want women to feel better when they've come in contact with me, whether that's virtually or in real life. I want them to feel like, yeah, I can do this, and I feel like sometimes that showing of the skin and that kind of thing can really get us like triggered a bit. So,
oh, absolutely. And there's a few coaches I've seen that kind of follow the same philosophy. And, I've had people give such positive feedback saying, what, I appreciate that, that you don't do it. And it's not very kind of like in your face and, this is what you should, because it depends, of course, on your approach. And there's lots of coaches who go like, eeny weeny teeny bikini with a big caption of, hey, do you want to look like this? Sign up now, which of course I understand, but I just feel like it's there's enough stuff out there that kind of preys on our insecurities.
Exactly. Yes.
to join in on that. And like you, I've also had my bouts of like pretty significant insecurities, and things like that made me feel really crappy about myself. And you don't want to be the person suddenly on the other end being like,
no. And I think that's why, being in contact with people via Instagram or in real life or any way that you can that make you feel better. You come away from either their page or their coaching session or their video feeling empowered. You feel better. You feel like, yeah, I'm going to take this on. Like, I'm ready. Not like, oh my God, she's so fine. And look at me and my arms and this. I mean, like, that is not, well, then you shouldn't be following that person. I'm sorry, you shouldn't be. You need to be strict in protecting your mental health, and you need to be disciplined and really notice how you feel,
Yeah, because if you're feeling bad about this whole thing, like it's also a question, like it's not going to last long. And in the end, you're not going to get what you want anyway, because you can't live your whole life being disappointed. Right?
You can't. No. And I think, that's why, I think that's why yoga is so incredibly important. And I think it makes it a massive impact in the way you feel, and even just the awareness, right? Like becoming aware and noticing, oh, I feel like crap today. And I'm like, I wonder why. And then realizing you spent an hour scrolling on Instagram, and then you wonder why you feel like crap. Like, well, you went down the rabbit hole.
There. Yeah, of course. Exactly. That's a one-way ticket.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think, being very mindful of the interactions and the things that you let in, and choosing wisely the mentors that you keep.
Now, drum roll and spoiler alert.
Yeah.
You have a program coming out soon. Would you mind telling us a little bit about it, who it's for, and kind of what the overall theme of it is?
Yes, and we are so incredibly excited. We've noticed that people really love doing challenges, like doing a 3-month challenge. And I think it's because it seems so much more attainable when you're like, okay, I'm going to do this for 3 months, and maybe they feel like they're going to stop right after that, but usually they don't.
Of course. So, you're on fire, right? You want to keep going.
Exactly. So we've created the YogaBurn Total Bodyband Challenge, which is using those amazing little loop resistance bands, that you're seeing everywhere.
Oh, yeah, $15 on Amazon. They're
gosh, I love
so easy.
I love them. And I posted a video way back when we first started my Instagram account, using one of these bands with my yoga practice. And it was like one of my most viewed videos back then. So that kind of planted the seed of, okay, this is something people see and they think is cool and different, and it makes sense to them. So I spent a couple of years really dialing in sequences and flows and exercises and incorporating this band into my yoga practice, especially with the glute activation, of course, which is massive right now. For example, I love doing that in down dog and doing like the lateral leg lifts right in a down dog with the band around your ankles. And then your whole body is really trying to stabilize you. Like there's so much more out there and so many more cool, fun variations that I think we can do with just that simple little band. So that is something that we are launching before Christmas, which I am like just so excited about because it was a big project, and it's going to be a 3-month program that you follow along with. The band is included. You can get the DVD as well. And then it's also, all of my programs are available for digital streaming as well.
And that means that you're going to be ahead of the game when the New Year's resolution crowds decide that it's time to do something.
Oh my gosh, it is complete insanity every January. We are just like, boom, it's massive for us. It is. And we just ride it and really try and support everyone every single day, just like checking in, accountability. We have wonderful Facebook groups. Our groups are up over 20,000 women now in our Facebook groups that are interacting every day. And it's really powerful. Women are such creatures of connection, right? Like we just do so much better when they're just like connecting with people, or you get on there and have a good vent and then everyone tells you you're awesome.
Sometimes we need somebody to tell us, no, you're not crazy. We've all been there. I know it feels like the end of the world and that today was the last straw, but you'll be fine. Yes. We need that. We need the social support system.
Exactly. And that's something that we've been really building with YogaBurn as well, which I think has just helped so many more women really stick with it. It's not so anonymous, right? That's the thing about at-home programs, is if you make it anonymous, it's really easy to just stop. But if people know you're doing it, whether it's friends and family or virtual groups, like that can only improve your chances of success and sticking with it. So.
Oh yeah, accountability is huge, and people think that all I need to do is figure out this perfect formula to stay motivated. It's like you're not going to be motivated every day for the rest of your life.
Talk about motivation, and I'm like, what? Like I'm not motivated. I don't know what you guys are talking about. It's just in my routine, and I know how I'm going to feel after. Like I guess that's the motivation for me, is I know how I'm going to feel after, right? After your workout or after your practice, when you have all those like endorphins and you just feel good and like nothing has changed about your body, but you're looking at yourself like you look totally different. You're like, wow.
You stand up, you stand taller, you roll your shoulders back, and suddenly your posture looks great, and you're filled with confidence.
I know. It's like when your abs are sore, you're instantly like, I think I have a 6-pack right now.
Absolutely.
My abs are sore. Everything has changed. I look completely different. It's just like that feeling. It really helps to increase your positivity and self-love when you take care of yourself. So I think it's just more of a routine thing, and having a plan, right, makes a big difference.
No, of course, it's all about working it into sort of the background of your life, because, of course, I think fitness is so important and it's empowering, but you don't want it to just consume your thoughts 24/7. No. And then it's almost like a cause of anxiety. And
exactly.
So many people fall into that loop. They feel great, and then they start to become a little obsessed with it. And then at somewhere there's a tipping point where it's no longer fun, and it's all they can think about, which is okay if it makes you happy, but then you don't want to go out with your friends because you're afraid of what that restaurant's going to have, or you don't want to take a trip because you're afraid you're going to maybe not be able to squeeze in a workout. And then it's like, okay, well, it's supposed to be improving the quality of your life.
Exactly. And I think especially we have a lot of moms in our tribe that are like just I'm not a mom yet. I can't wait to be. But then sometimes I talk to moms and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm terrified. Like I'm literally terrified. I'm really scared. But when I give moms this, like, can you do 15 minutes? Can you do 15 minutes? Whenever, when your baby's down, if it's clambering all over you, let it, just 15 minutes right from home. It really makes it a lot more accessible, especially for busy moms. And, I know sometimes I get flack because I'm not a mom yet, but like I do my very, very best to connect with as many moms as I can and empathize with the busyness that must come and the sleep deprivation and all of those things. So I think that 15-minute kind of sweet spot is great because often it's kind of like a run, right? When you say, I'm just going to go for 10 minutes, but sometimes you end up going for like a half hour or 45 because it just
you got to get started. You
Exactly.
just need to start it. Exactly.
So if you just say to yourself, I just need to try 15 minutes, a lot of women oftentimes end up doing 30 or they do another round or they'll work up to 3 rounds and do a 45-minute yoga practice that makes them feel amazing. Or they'll mix match all my programs to get like a different feel, like to do an active one. We also have the YogaBurn Booty Challenge, which is all focused on the lower body, of course. And then they'll do a really relaxed one to round out their practice. So we try and make it as like a
mix and match.
Exactly, as we can, while still providing you with a plan and a program that's proven and set and ready for you to follow. So.
Oh, that's amazing. That sounds so fun. I can't wait. It's so exciting. Now you got me all excited for it.
It really is. I can't wait.
Now, we're actually starting to come up to sort of our half an hour mark. So I have to stay on focus instead of just questioning you about all of this exciting stuff that's coming out. I always hassle my guests with a book that you like, that you would recommend to our viewers, something that spoke to you, that, maybe had a positive effect that you think other people would benefit from.
Yes. And as I was like looking at my bookshelf, I was like really trying to pick a yoga book. I was like, come on, pick a yoga book. But I couldn't.
There's no pressure.
I couldn't do it. And mine is The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman.
Oh, that's a fantastic book.
Yes, I'm getting married next summer, and I've always been just a sucker for like relationship stuff and understanding yourself and how that impacts your relationships, I think is really powerful. And that book really did it for me. I really liked it.
Which language is your dominant language?
No, I am physical touch all the way.
There you go. That's amazing. Oh, and I completely agree. I highly recommend that book to anyone. It was a wonderful read. Like, it doesn't take a whole lot of time, and it's, not overly wordy, or because a lot of the relationship theory books start to get a little bit more like kind of psychoanalysis sort of thing. It's very, very accessible, and it's so useful. I loved it.
It is. Yeah. Do you know what your love language was?
Yeah, mine's physical as well.
Of course, we're fitness girls, right?
Exactly.
So we're like, I'm working on this body. You better notice, mister.
Exactly.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, wonderful. So before we wrap up, is there anything that you would like to add? Any message that you want our audience to kind of hear from you? This is open mic time, all about you.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, I would probably just say, if you're listening to this and you're looking for inspiration, just know that you already have it within you. And when you find the right mentor, they're going to help to tease that out of you. So whether it's a teacher, a friend, a family member, someone on social media, find that right mentor that helps you feel inspired and more authentic, and brings out your truest self and who the best version of you is. And I think oftentimes we look in so many other places when really it's inside of us. So if you can give yourself a little bit of time at home that's focused, and again, of course, like yoga practice makes such a big impact. I know I feel really inspired every time I step off of my mat. And that's something that I've, generated myself from my own movement and my breath and my thoughts. And I think, try and spend some more time looking within yourself to really find that inspiration. And then you'll find you don't necessarily need motivation when it comes to getting healthy and all of those things. It's just going to come because you're being your truest self, and our truest self means that we're taking care of ourselves, you know?
Yeah. Wow. What a beautiful message. Thank you so much. You see, this is why I love all of your stuff. You know, I listen to it, I look at it, I just feel better. It's wonderful. Thank you so much for everything that you're putting out there. Like, your content is amazing. You're so positive, and we need more of that, especially with the darker weather coming soon. It's really hard. It's really hard to keep, put a smile on, put on a happy face when it's raining and gray and ugly. But thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I really appreciate it. This has been awesome. I cannot wait for your program. It sounds so fun.
Yay, it's going to be awesome.
So thank you so much for talking.
Yeah, thank you as well. I appreciate you reaching out, and it was really great to connect with you.
Hey Alphas, it's Dr. Antonella from Fierce and Flawless, the Female Project. I cannot wait to bring you more incredible stories and exceptional insights from women who made an impact. So join me on this journey. Subscribe and comment with nominations for guests you would like featured next. I want to deliver content that ignites a spark in you, so your feedback is extremely important to me. To connect with me and to get the resources mentioned in this episode, visit www.thefemaleproject.net or add me on Instagram at dr.antonella. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned.